Welcome to this webinar. This is about how to invest in the film industry with confidence and, of course, how to obtain a more than a reasonable return on investment and satisfactory capital gain in a completely safe environment. I am Marco Taloni, and I run the agency Mark Taloni Investment, and exclusively in the film industry. So now let's start. First of all, I want to say that this webinar will last for 6 days, starting from today, 3 p.m. already, through Saturday, and that Saturday will be at 11:30 p.m. Every day we will discuss the stages and issues to be individuated in such type of investment and disclose the strategy and secrets in order to get on the right path and be sure that our investment will be as expected. Let's start right away with the film industry. So, film industry. First and foremost, I want to emphasize the practical benefit of this webinar that is tailored for investors who need a comprehensive understanding of the film industry financial processes, and for producers who are familiar with production and distribution but need to bridge the gap to generate substantial capital gains for the investors. By attending, you will gain valuable insights that can be immediately applied to your film, your work. While producers and other professionals may already know some of the factors I will discuss, I ask for your patience as I interweave these processes with other critical elements that are essential for achieving success. This is a broad industry, especially now that many digital outputs are accessible to anyone. And we have, for example, now we have the so-called influencers. According to the dictionary, an influencer is a person who can influence potential buyers of a product or service by promoting or recommending the item on social media. But fundamentally, I'm not in such a sense. I'm here as an information and advice provider to share experience and knowledge with you, either as a potential investor or just as someone would like to have a clear idea about the film industry, how to make some good money in the film industry. Of course, you want to learn the mechanism of how to make sell films to make a buck. Actually, the number of bucks can be considerably high. Also, I'm not going to lie. This is an initiative to stand out from the crowd because we want to establish a Canadian powerhouse in the film industry that mostly is held by Hollywood. Not just for me, but for everyone as independent investors or even independent filmmakers who wish to be part of promoting a niche of the film industry that has much potential but is obscured, is like shadowed by the big fishes of the film industry who act as gatekeepers and decide the destiny of thousands of great independent filmmakers, impeding private equity investors to securely access to a slice of revenue available. Then I said niche. A size of the market has a great power, but is often not appropriately appreciated or wrongly considered. So, said that, I mean, I'm not trying to influence you to buy something. I'm here to provide inputs into the reality of an industry that even navigated film producers do not know exactly in deep, or such a mechanism, or don't have a deep hand in it. So the film industry these days is also dominated by digital distribution, by any means, by social media and digital platform. And right now is expanding considerably. So in social media, they make money. You know how? By advertising through social media, like in platform like Twitter, X, Facebook, at YouTube, for instance. And there is a specific way to achieve a certain rank in the way you can start to monetize such content. This webinar is not related to this of way of making money or some money. This webinar is for passive investors and filmmakers, or for everyone interested in it who want to convert a certain capital into a good gain in the short and long run securely. In this webinar, we will discuss as well the digital platform, but we will mostly focus on a classic film distribution, which is called theatrical distribution, or simply making movies to bring to cinema screens around the world. I know this topic seems very cloud and obscure. That's why I'm here to disclose these steps, tips and tricks on how to put ants in a field basically controlled and monopolized by Hollywood studios. Hollywood studios have grown the industry since they basically invented the system, to create movies, drag audience to watch them. But that it was born at the end of 19th centuries. And I remember I made a film about it. I mean, I was part of the cast in the production team. It was a TV series, a mini series of 4 episodes of 1 hour each, more like a movie for the cinemas, of 4 hours length and made for TV. That was a story of one of the pioneers of motion picture acting. The name was Carolina Otero, a Spanish actress that was basically involved in acting films on screens for the first time in history. It was very enticing film, very fascinating to be part of the production team. So back to us. Let's see again. The story. Our story in this webinar is related to making a movie, which means producing it and selling the film, making a good enough capital gain. How we sell it. So we said we would focus on theatrical release. It means showing the movie into the theaters, but also we will touch the digital platforms and other digital channels. That's what we call all of this entertainment film industry. This field is greatly expanding even now. Social media platforms are available to everyone. Everyone can produce some form of entertainment. You heard people that make millions, out of social media, and that is true. But it's also true that it takes a lot of work to get that kind of level or revenue. Similarly, for example, in film, actors and actresses like let's see, Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone, etc., etc. There are few hundreds of famous actors who make millions of dollars in revenue. But how many thousands are lining up to achieve that level? Maybe how many hundreds of thousands are lining up that sort of careers? That's different how they do. These people, they're like more workers of entertainment, They are the workers of the film industry, of video. Here in this webinar, we talk about as a business people, thinking in a business way with the scope to achieve a proper revenue results as expected. Okay, so why film industry then? And then I can say, why not? Film industry is very powerful right now. We have a great number of huge cinema chains around the world. There are tens of thousands of theaters around the world. We hear about billions of dollars in box office revenue for one film. Okay, big deal, blockbuster film. But again, we are going to talk about niche, a small market that is still in demand. And even this one is a multi-million dollar deal. So do what do we need to access to this revenue at this level? Of course, the first step to access to this revenue is to understand the industry, to have an experience in the matter. So this is where I come in to share my knowledge and experience in the film industry, being filmmaking for years, having been a business developer for several years around the world. Then I represent a merging between film industry and business development. Then the knowledge and experience in the film industry, from creation to production and distribution, then including promotional marketing, the knowledge in sales, marketing, and finance spontaneously merged merge this capability to generate a system to convert the spending on film production to capital gain. It's something that must be planned in all single mechanism from creation, development, and production of the film product. Then teams, technical, artistic, administration, management, and ultimately distribution, which means sales, which means selling it and having an income. That's an industry, like making a consumer product and selling it to the market. There's no difference as a baseline of business. To obtain a capital gain, we must will be well endowed in order to know what is needed for having a final ratio between spending and revenue that ultimately becomes positive. I have spoken many times, in the past, in many video I did in other podcasts. I guaranteed a guaranteed minimum return on investment of 100%. Somebody of you might have heard that. And then how I meant that? I meant that this means that the distributor guarantees such a return, absorbing any bump that should come in the middle. So, how is it? It seems, is it something good? I mean, it looks good. Apparently, this path, in the contrary, it seems pretty scary or dangerous, but it's not. Why? Because I learned something studying is called CMMI, that stands in for capability, maturity, models, integration. This is a complex study of any industry's management, from development, project, and production. It evaluates the level of maturity of an entity from an entire company to just a department of the same company. Maturity means the level of capability to obtain the result as expected. Let's say, I invented called CC, that basically is inspired by CMMI. CC stands for Sales Efficiency Attainability System Integrated. That there is a cluster of subjects in the administration of mechanisms that must comply with certain levels of positive outcomes. Well, I'm not here to talk about this, but just to let you understand briefly that many corporations were adopting this CMMI, important company like Lockheed Martin, IBM, for instance. Thus, the maturity level of the corporation is by measuring the quality of its capability of obtaining results in terms of production and business complying with a cluster of CMMI processes by measuring the one under analysis through methodical appraisals. So I was impressed by these studies, and I brought in my business. I learned that organizational focus is the key. I didn't invent anything. but the organization measurement from requirements to mechanism structure and its component are the fundamental factor to elaborate during the process of filmmaking, marketing, and distribution. Do we want to achieve a result? What do we need to do? That's it. That's the story. We must properly elaborate on requirements, mechanisms with their components, and implement them adequately. So, like, for example, I just say Ferrari. Ferrari. How is it a Ferrari? Of course, there are engineered mechanisms that are not known clearly very well to others because that makes Ferrari unique. Our industry is more based on feelings than mechanism engineered. But in films, we need organizational focus as well. Quality and mechanism properly functioning. Besides the beauty. So, you know what I mean? We don't want to win competition to achieve first place, but we want a kind of Ferrari good enough to achieve a result in our niche. Our niche is to arrive at the first, so at the finish line, safe, and get a good position in your race. So, to do so, we need to build such an, let's call, medium Ferrari, I would say. So that's the key. That's what we must implement. So back in our film, we need, just briefly, script. We need something that reasonably meets our needs. Later in this webinar, we will evaluate that. Second, we need a reliable producer who can properly manage the production teams following an approved production plan. Then, number three, artistically. So it must be reasonably good to obtain an artistic product that can fit the market that we are planning to cover. Then we will see later this fact, how something, supposed to be to ensure that ensure interest averagely. And then again, we are not going to win the race. We want to arrive at the finish in a reasonable manner. We want something average. That's part of our success. We do not have to compete, but we will get a small slice needed for our scope. Then it might win. We never know, but that's not the scope. Try to follow what I meant. 4. We have post-production, which is made by selected technical team, but then we need the so-called PEA, which means print and advertising, promotion. So, okay, the print includes copies from the master of the film to obtain other tapes that must be sent to the theaters simultaneously. We call DCP, which stands for Digital Cinema Package. There are specific labs to do that, and there's something needed for distribution. And even this one, the PEA, the prints, we have a system because they cost money. So another, number 5, is a financial mechanism to be elaborated on, is a promo marketing campaign for the film. That's one of the key factors as a mechanism that is able to generate buyers. In this case, people who buy the ticket to watch the film. This is important for our side, but at the same time, it's for the cinema. So that's important. Later we'll see why. So cinema need to see, understand our efforts to bring people to watch our film. So this is a responsibility of distribution. So this mechanism is fundamental for revenue, but also for setting a proper deal with cinema's owners. We must create powerful model that provides such an assurance for the box office. We will go over this section. Our organization, my organization, has within one GJV Media, that is this distributor that has generated detailed model to optimize and implement a successful mechanism for for the distribution of the film. So number 6, So here we need to optimize the structure of the teams and the component of the whole mechanisms. We need to obtain the average of audience to make an average of the expected box office result. That's the goal. Remember, we are aiming for an average. We are to implement proper statistics and local research to analyze the best promo mechanism, because this is also expensive. I mean, this process. So also cinema, we start that we don't want to compete with Hollywood studio, but we know the cinema need also independent films on their screens, but they select the one promises by several reasons audience that goes to buy ticket. So now comes the key factor, key factor to succeed. So let's give it the fact that we have a good enough film. We need to generate a reasonable structure of tour for shows that cinema can accept, and where we can finalize it in the way that the more promo marketing campaigns will obtain the maximum level of effect, that is to bring few people in short schedule to come to watch our film and pay for the tickets. So that's our goal. That's what we want. The optimization of these mechanisms will be set to obtain a 100% minimum return on investment, which means capital gain. So can we do it as a Hollywood film studio do? Well, our model is a very similar system, but only in a smaller scale, with an adjustment for optimization to set a reasonable ratio between spending and revenue. So later in this webinar, we will discuss why and how promotional marketing for a film should be conducted to maximize the expected revenue. So we always speak of a niche market for independent films. So now let's start to think about what investors and other interested individuals can gain from entering the film industry. The first important answer is to ensure that the structure of the entire operation is reliable and doable, and that there is no risk in any direction. Then, following the mentioned points, which I just mentioned, relate to the mechanism and their components. That's not an easy task for someone who doesn't have an idea what's all about. In this webinar, I can clarify what you should learn in order to be sure that such points would be reached with minimal expectation and of being in the safe zone of making a movie or investing in it. So some investors can be writers, producers, directors, or even all three of a film. But they do not possess the capability or experience in marketing or mechanism of distribution. This is a very common missing factor that happens in the independent film industry, and then the producer has a beautiful film finished, money spent to make it, maybe some money from friends, from other investors, and now all of them have to hope to make money back at least and make some money out of it. So that's something happening all the time. Then investor who came to the project also hoped to have some money from it. This is a broken mechanism. This is a broken mechanism. That's what is it. So remember that I talked about earlier this CMMI, which I provided some information. Broken mechanism. That's what the CMMI system does. Individuates gives you the tool to analyze the broken part and generate the missing pieces of such a broken mechanism. But certainly, as CMMI model integration is not integrated generally into the independent filmmaking industry. And we have we have this broken mechanism, which is the distribution gap in general, or even in more the one component. So let's focus on the distribution gap. So what is it? So it's a fact that all the time, or most of the time, independent producers with a finished film have to individuate a distributor that gives some money in advance to the producers. That such a distributor should invest in their film to distribute it, and as a result, should provide a recoup of the invested money and perhaps providing some change as a capital gain. Some change, well, this is a reality, happens all the time. It's well known among independent filmmakers. Investors are the ones being hit by these broken mechanisms. So these days, distributor won't spend money on a film just like that, hoping to make it back and give money in excess to the producer. Why? It's not an easy task, I mean, for distribution to invest in any film to make money back. It's a lot of money, a lot of job, lot of organization. All these risks to do what? To make money for the producers? Well, they won't. They will work hard to make money for themselves first. Then, if something is left over, whatever it will go to the film producer. And believe me, often is it less than the budget spent to produce the film. Scary, isn't it? So that's why investors are very reluctant to invest in the film industry. They understand that it is generally hard, to earn money back. That's why a system is needed. So a system similar to Hollywood studios, a system that solves the problem of the broken mechanism that generally exists in the independent film industry. The system is to act similarly to a Hollywood studio. It means having full hands on to develop, produce, distribute, and promote the film project in house, means fully within the corporation's wall. And that's what we are providing here in this webinar, the system and tools for investors and filmmakers to land in a cluster of mechanisms that are well organized and focused on the result. So we need a complete structure from creating and developing a film project, producing it and making it ready to be sold, and having a final mechanism for distribution with promo marketing, organization, and distribution methods applied to obtain an average of result, extremely acceptable and with many chances to exceeding it. So let's begin from the first mechanism of the whole filmmaking and selling machine. First, let's go over to the development, which includes the story, which is the base of the film, and then write the screenplay or script of the film. Our journey begins with a story that must be not only engaged, but also compatible. That's important. With the specific market we are targeting for distribution. That's one important component. Once we have a story that fits this criteria, we can then enlist a talented writer to craft, a well-structured screenplay. Okay, what does it mean? To be well structured? Since the screenplay is, the, let's call, blueprint of the story and its realization on the screen, it must be enticing. In its entertainment level, and with a flowing structure, respecting, here we talk about technical, the phase from the introduction of the story with the creation of the story object. Then there is the phase of the confrontation or challenge of that object. And then at the third phase is the resolution of the object of the story. So these are the typical three phases of a well-written screenplay. This must be articulated so in the way that it flows well, with a certain level of power to be rendered when the film is realized in production. Next, we need a director who can, work closely with a story creator to bring the idea to life on the set. This collaboration is essential for applying the artistic and technical mechanisms in a symbiotic way, ensuring the film's output meets our expectation. The story, the director, and the shooting, style should all align with the goal of creating a film product that fits well with the territories where the movie will be shown on screens. This alignment is crucial as it assures that the film resonates with the target audience, thereby increasing its chances of success. It's a crucial for the distributor and is a team to initiate the distribution and promo marketing process early, even during the pre-production phase of the film. This proactive approach, starting, the job when the screenplay is ready, even that time, and the film production begins, that assure preparedness. And as I mentioned, this early planning should be in-house or in close collaboration with the film group, aligning with the entire business plan. The distributor and his team play a pivotal role in the distribution and promo marketing process. So this is a fundamental key factor to succeed, assuring that the ultimate goal for the film business will be achieved. So, see, this is the first step in optimizing mechanism in our film business. But the question spontaneously arises about choosing the right story and script. How do we do that? Well, the process of evaluating several proposals is including those from authors we know. We have had the positive, experience with that is crucial, important. You have to evaluate many of those, product project. This helps us identify the best teaming option for implementation. So then, there are thousands of stories, a good writer. It's only a matter of choosing the one capable of fitting our necessity of production and distribution. Then budget, of course, and entertainment power that is directly proportioned to the target of the audience type in the territory where I am expected to bring the film to screens. So, okay, today we spoke about this as the first step. The following days will still keep going to elaborate the mechanisms of the entire process of filmmaking and selling it, and ultimately the distribution in detail. Today we summarize what are the factors to succeed in a film production and selling it. We learned that it is fundamental these days to have a compelling model based on a cluster optimization that embrace the entire structure of the creation production, and let's call sales to make it easy. The distribution, sales, we have to divide all process in single mechanisms and make them efficient, cutting edges and plug all these mechanisms together to make our Ferrari until the finish line. So thank you for today. Just let me go through. Thank you for today. Let me go through. I want to share still. I will do every day this sharing. So so this is. So this is our is the there you go. Sharing screens. I don't see any sharing. There you go. See. So this is mm, no, doesn't share. Share. Sorry about that. Optimizing. Okay. Something wrong. Yeah. So just because yeah, sharing. I'm doing it. Yeah, exactly. So sharing. So this is basically we have a website that you want to explain. For example, many information are here in this website that call marktaloninvest.net slash investors pitch. So here there are a lot of information about what I'm talking about. Also, we have because we have about the operation, for example, operation organized, and then we have also the film, the film, the film. In this case, we have displays listing the film, and then we have Tiny Doors, another of our three films operation, beautiful art horror film, and then we have another that is a 2 hours run, beautiful also romance, music, drama, beautiful story. So here we have to access, we have to put the password 100 capital ROI, 100 capital ROI. So just to remind you, and then you can access, for example, here put one ROI, access each you have access to the film see talk about the film, we have also an interview with the author Jay Schillinger in this case, Schillinger, and then we have here we have the the yeah, the concept, video concept. It's not a typical video. It's not made on. It's not produced yet, of course. So yeah, so that's is what we can also browse after the each day of the webinar. So see you tomorrow. Thank you for today, and so see you tomorrow to continue this conversation. And then so also the webinar is recorded, so we can you can send me email at mtaloni at 1gjv.net, and then you can ask for the link will be a link to go to recording the internet pages where they're all recorded days of this webinar. Thank you.